it went under, and this is the one and only concept car that they had made.
So this is a concept car.
This is a concept car. There was nothing.
I'm Duke.
And I'm Lola.
And this is BossaNova Life.
And we are at the Great Pacific Northwest Mini and Microcar Extravaganza.
That's right outside of Portland, Oregon, here at the Grand Lodge of McMenamins on the lawn, checking out some amazing little cars from the 50s, 60s, and on up. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. I'm Brent. My last name is Mills. I'm from Duvall, Washington. So I made a little trek down here.
Well, we've been here many times for this event, and I have never seen either of these two Jetson-esque vehicles. So what have we got, man?
Well, you know, before about 5 or 6 months ago, I had never seen one of these before either. I was just kind of blazing my normal path on the internet and looking for things, and this thing crossed my path. I reached out to the person, and his name was Brent, and my name is Brent. So sign number one.
What is it?
It was a company called Bazaar, and they had started in 1959. They had bought 45 acres of land in Canada with big plans to be sort of the Ford of Canada. It is a Fiat 600 based car.
Okay.
So I had just restored a Fiat 600, and immediately I pulled the trigger. And they had 6 different models that were planned, but the gentleman who was the CEO thought it was also a good idea to run an illegal gambling ring across the U.S.-Canadian border.
Well, he's got to fund his projects, right?
Yes, exactly. And
not a good business decision.
No. So it went under, and this is the one and only concept car that they had made.
So this is a concept car.
This is a concept car. There was nothing.
God.
You can tell. I mean, I'm assuming that the front end was never fully finished.
Yeah,
like I can see where, you know, headlights would normally go in the buckets.
Yeah, and they put them down. They put them down low there just to make it go in the body. There's no bumpers, so it wouldn't have passed regulations.
It did have bumpers. Originally, but not when I got it.
Okay.
So I've tracked down the grandchildren of the CEO, and they had original pictures of the car and his father and stuff with the car.
So does it pop open on the front like a traditional car, or is it rear engine?
It's rear engine.
Okay.
You want to see it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
I love these fins. Oh my goodness.
It's just, oh my God. That's a mighty big rear engine, man.
It is it's a Fiat 600 based car. All of the suspension, the transmission, door latches, everything came from a Fiat 600. So they were working to contract with Fiat to ship them supply them with the chassis and the parts and all that stuff, and then they were going to build what they considered a car with American styling and European sensibilities. That was their
This is just crazy though, because I've never seen a rear engine in my life that has enough room to actually put luggage almost next to the motor.
I know, yes.
Which you wouldn't want to do, but like it's there. That's just crazy.
It is a weird car.
And it looks like these, and you could tell it's a mock-up just by like looking at the inside.
Totally concept. It was all just, you know.
That thing is just incredibly amazing. Like I don't think I've seen a more unique car.
It is definitely a weird animal, which weird animals I love. So.
So what's your name, sir?
Steve Roberts.
And where are you from?
Eagle Point, Oregon.
Eagle Point, so not too far away.
No, close.
Yeah. Did you drive this all the way?
At the trailer. 25, 30 miles an hour.
I could see you down on, like, you know, the side highways, just pop, 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 pop. So what have we got here, man?
It's a 39 Crosley Coupe. It's
39. So pre-war?
Pre-war. It's got a 2-cylinder air-cooled motor with 13 horsepower.
American made.
American made in Cincinnati.
Wow.
It's got the back seat in it. Came optional with either a back seat or a wooden floor for hauling.
Kind of like a little pickup thing. Yeah, I see. Wow, where'd you find it?
I found it in Davenport, Iowa.
All right. Was it in this condition?
It was exactly the way it sits.
Wow.
It had been stored approximately 20 years in this fellow's shop, and he came down with brain cancer. And he was selling off his collection.
It looks like he may have repainted it, maybe?
Possibly.
That's about the only thing I see.
That was. We believe it's been repainted, but everything else.
Yeah, everything else looks original. This is always impressive. So what do you know about this particular model that changed hands?
It was the first year Crosley made them.
Okay, first year.
First year, and they made them in 1939. And they made the coupe has the rounded doors. And then later on, the square top.
Yeah, more like this one right here.
That was called the sedan.
Yeah, that's the 10 years later. Yeah, I see.
And then there's a 49 Crosley there. That's the hot shot.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, this is.
So you said about 25 mile an hour max?
Pretty much so.
Was it about 35 horsepower?
It's 13.
13 horsepower. 13 horses?
Yeah, it's got,
which, if I believe is translated correctly, it's almost 7 horsepower to actual 1 horse. So it's about 2 horses.
Yeah, it's not very. Fast on the road.
Impressive.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I like it. Let me get your shirt too while we're at it. That's great.
My pleasure.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, we have Mark, also known as 2-Stroke Turbo on YouTube. He's got himself a little bit of a small channel. There you go.
YouTube
famous. And you run this event.
I do. Yeah, we're 15 years running now.
I love
we like your shirt.
Thanks.
You were actually, yeah, we like the back.
I did.
Too.
Unfortunately, you didn't have one in a medium for me.
Oh, no.
And I've lost all this weight lately, so that's the benefit, I guess. I gain it back just so I can get the shirt on.
So you've been doing this for 15 years now. Have you been on it from the beginning, or did you take over from somebody else?
I started, 15 years ago, and our first show we had 7 cars.
Yeah.
That's like this many.
Yeah.
And we doubled it the next year was 14, the year after that was 21, 30.
Yeah.
And now we average about 50.
Yeah.
I think we've got almost 60 now. A few just showed up.
And we haven't been down here in a couple years, and what was cool is I'd say at least a third of the cars I've never seen before. And when you're talking this unique of cars, that's an impressive number.
That's the fun
we like
part.
the unique cars, yeah.
Nice.
We tell people about this event, and everyone gets excited.
It's super fun.
Everybody goes, "Where is it? We need to go see this." Yeah, it's just fun.
It's on Father's Day every year. You have no excuse not to get here. You're the father. Make it happen.
Or mom.
What's interesting too is it's a 3-day event. It's Friday meet and greet. Saturday is our vineyard tour where we take these little cars and we drive them out in the country for a little less than 100 miles, which you wouldn't think that's a big deal, but when you've got
little cars overheating, pushing them up hills.
Yep, exactly. It's not necessarily a torture test. It's just to keep the cars doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting in your garage with the tarp over them, they're out being used and enjoyed by.
Maybe it's the consumption of wine that's more of the torture test for you.
We have to.
Got to keep it minimum.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Turns, driving and drinking.
Right. Yeah. Just a little sipping and a little driving. That's all.
Okay. And I have a real quick question. Like, where do you see this going in the future? Is this going to just kind of keep growing?
That's a good question. I hope that it grows. If it gets too much bigger, I'm not sure what we'll do. But I don't know if you noticed, but there's a whole contingent of these key cars that have now kind of infiltrated. Yeah. I think that's going to get bigger. They're not quite classic or vintage, but they're pretty cool, and there's lots of variations there. So it just adds to the mix. It's all cool.
More fun little cars.
Yeah, we're going to keep going as long as we can.
Great. Well, we're happy you're here.
Thanks,
man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, it is a go-go.
Because people are like, just go. Go.
How you doing today, man?
Good.
And what is your name?
My name's Justin. I'm out of Milwaukee, Oregon.
Milwaukee, Oregon.
Yeah.
And you've got this little ride, which I was like, is that a Ford Anglia? And you were like, no, it is not.
It's a brother. It's a prefect.
Okay.
So same family, just another couple doors.
Okay, and what year is this?
1959.
And where did you get it?
I actually got it from MPH Specialties. They were selling it with a buddy of theirs.
The guy who runs this event.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. So what have you done to it so far?
Not a whole lot. It's got a little bit of work to do, but it runs and drives every day. I've been just trying to clean the original vinyl and figuring out ways to keep the original paint
So was
going.
this sold in England as the brother of the Anglia, or was it sold in the States?
Yeah, they actually made some export production for a lot of Canada. And
Okay.
this one found its way down. That's
Oh,
why
I
it's
see.
still a left-hand drive. So,
I see.
yeah.
Awesome sauce. So how long have you had it then?
It's about 8 months. So this is my first big car event.
Your
So,
first outing. So what is it running in this thing?
we got a 100E side valve. We're pushing about 34 horsepower.
Oh man.
So yeah, 0 to 60, and someday it'll get there.
What are you gonna do with all that horsepower?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not have seatbelts. Yeah.
So is it like a 50-mile-an-hour max speed on this thing then?
Actually, it was sold at max speed of 72 miles an hour, but you had to rebuild the engine if you went that fast for over a couple thousand miles. So yeah, it wasn't good.
It would cook it.
Yep, exactly. So it could do it.
All right. But it's all steel body.
Yep. All
Amazing.
steel body. Yep. So
Impressive. It's the golf cart of sports cars.
I couldn't drive it. So the steering wheel's on the wrong side.
Would that throw you off? You just won't be able to do it?
No, I just can't drive in any country besides ours or ones like us.
How are you doing today, man?
Doing good.
And what's your name?
I'm Jason Nilsson,
And where are you from, Jason?
Granite Falls, Washington.
Granite Falls, Washington. How far away is that?
Oh, 250 miles.
Did you drive the Messerschmitt all the way?
Oh yeah, no. we towed it, but we did drive it on an 80-mile tour yesterday,
Okay, nice.
and it was probably 85 degrees out.
So tell us a little bit about this. I've seen them a couple times, but I've never actually got to interview anybody.
Well, this one's a 1955. They made these, I think, starting around 52 up until 64, I think is the last year. So this
And is it the same company that made the fighters during World War II?
It is indeed. So when the war ended, Messerschmitt and the other German aircraft manufacturers weren't allowed to build aircraft for 10 years. So in order to stay in business, they all built other things. Messerschmitt didn't design this. It was designed by Fritz Fend, who was an aircraft engineer that had worked for Willie Messerschmitt. He approached him. They decided to build it together.
Yeah.
Originally, they started off as cars for invalids, war veterans.
Oh, wow.
They caught on as cheap, easy transport, and the story goes from there. So they did actually sell them in America for just a couple of years.
Okay.
And this was one that was sold for America. I think they were $999 or $950. They were close to $1,000, which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
In the mid 50s compared to, I think your average American car might have been $1,600.
Yeah, and a little bit bigger.
A lot bigger. They were more of a novelty here in America, but in Europe, this was transportation. It's, you know, for countries that didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of resources after the war.
Yeah.
This was serious transportation, and I've wanted one of these my whole life because of the aircraft connection, the Battle of Britain history, Messerschmitt. And I'd never even saw one until I was 13, but I knew about them when I was younger. And I've had this one for 20 years.
20 years, okay. So what have you done to it?
When I bought it, it looked pretty much like it does. It was, someone had started to restore it and didn't finish, but the engine was in pieces in a box, which was kind of perfect for me because I'm not good at body work, but mechanical I'm pretty good at.
Yeah.
So it was a great way to buy it, and I got a good deal, and they've gone up in value a lot. So
What's it running in? Is it a 2-stroke or what is it?
it is a single-cylinder, 2-stroke, 191 cc.
191 cc's. Wow. So is it like 15 horsepower?
I think it's 9 horsepower.
9 horsepower.
Yeah,
Wow.
but it's very small and very light.
Yeah,
it will do about 60.
Really?
Yeah.
And I guess with that aerodynamic body, it sticks down pretty good.
They're pretty squirrely to drive.
Is it kind of like riding a Vespa scooter or something?
Very much so.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They sound a lot like a Vespa. It kind of has the same feel.
Yeah. And then these, I think, is it just because they were an aircraft company, or did they actually take those from aircraft and reuse them?
No, there's nothing from aircraft. When I was a kid, I remember my dad had a book about cars that said that these were made from leftover fighter plane parts. And that
really
was,
tiny fighter planes.
that was a common myth. A lot of people thought that back then, but no, they weren't. But because they were aircraft designers, obviously there was a lot of influence.
Yeah. Well, it's a gorgeous little ride, man. I appreciate you talking to us about it.
Yeah, thank you. It's good talking with you.
Well, thank you for watching our video. Do you like classic cars and rockabilly?
What about pinup and burlesque?
What about those things? How about tiki culture and mid-century modern?
Atomic culture.
All of those things can be yours. Just click like and subscribe right there. Do it. Right there.